What we're doing now is providing access to products that are very similar to what people are used to trading right now, and they're really no different. The benefits of them is that we allow someone to get exposure to all sorts of different assets and products in a safer way than they could do currently.
Welcome to the Students of Crypto podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and in today's conversation, I speak with Seth Rubin, who is the CEO and the co-founder of Market Protocol. Market Protocol is a decentralized trading platform. He's going to break down exactly what they do, the solutions they're providing, and a little bit of his background. In today's conversation, you're also going to hear a couple references to some current events. This episode was recorded back in August, so some of those events are outdated. However, it's extremely informative, the things we talk about, and I know you'll get a lot of value out of it. Now, before I get started with today's episode, I want to take a second to plug a few of our channels. The first one being our website, studentsofcrypto.com. All of our episodes are listed there. Also, the links to all of our social medias, so you can connect with us on there. Some of the social medias that I recommend you reaching out on if you want to connect or just see what we got going on is our Twitter. It's @CryptoStudents. And in our Telegram group, just search Students of Crypto and you'll find our group. Happy and excited to connect with you guys. Send me over some of the information you guys are reading about, some of the stuff you're learning, and let's have a conversation. Also, we ask our audience to please take the time to review our show, whether that be on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you're listening. It's extremely helpful for us to grow our audience and continue to stay in touch with what our audience wants and what they like and what they don't like. So feel free to head on over, leave us a review, and also while you're there, make sure you subscribe so you can get all the latest updates on our shows. So enough for me. Let's go ahead and get started with today's conversation now.
So I started my career as a derivatives trader in 2005 in Chicago. I actually started work on the same day with Collins, one of my co-founders. So we've been working together off and on the trading side prior to the blockchain side for about 13 years. We originally entered the blockchain space in 2015 as traders. Prior to that, I ran and managed a number of 24-hour algorithmic futures desks, trading everything from super liquid products to very illiquid products. We're market makers, for example, in Thai rubber futures on the Singapore Futures Exchange, and market makers in really liquid things like Eurodollar futures. So we traded everything. In terms of the blockchain space, we entered in 2015 as traders. Very quickly, sort of in 2016, towards the end of 2016, saw that the technology was really what was most interesting. Originally, we were interested in some of the things that blockchain technology could do and solve around custody of funds, and became very interested in decentralized exchanges. And that's sort of how we got started in the quick background. We started working on and really kind of focused full time on Market Protocol about 14 months ago in June 2017. And then just quickly to mention, we have a third co-founder, Phil, who's been working with us on the trading side originally. So we've been working with Phil for the last 7 years. Phil was responsible originally on the trading side and with building and writing a lot of our low latency infrastructure and our strategy development, and is now the CTO of Market Protocol.
You highlighted the trader side, and I think that's important, especially for what you guys are doing. Can you tell me about the time when you first realized that this was what you wanted to do, and Market Protocol was the solution you wanted to build? Yeah,
very early we realized, coming from the traditional centralized finance world, we were really shocked and surprised by the way custody of funds worked in the crypto space. We were really surprised that exchange hacks were normal, that people removed their funds from exchange and held them in their wallet as sort of best practice. To us, that was really like a shocking environment. And that's what really sort of led us down a solution that eventually became Market Protocol. Those were some of the first pieces that we saw around custody of funds that we thought needed to be fixed. The second thing that we saw very early was an opportunity to remove a lot of sort of legacy pieces that existed in the financial industry. And we saw that blockchain technology provided a way for us to do that. But what really was the moment or the turning point for us was when we realized sort of the overall problem we were solving and addressing with Market Protocol. And at the highest level, that's a scaling and adoption problem. So a lot of times when people think about technology, and blockchain, they think about that as the limiting factor. We need faster blocks. We need more transactions. And I agree with that. But another issue that exists in the blockchain space that doesn't get talked about as often, but also is hugely significant from a scaling side and an adoption side, is price volatility. And that's the problem that we're addressing and attacking with market protocol. Traders, users, businesses, anyone needs a way to manage their risk, to deal with the price volatility associated with these assets. So that's really sort of when we realize that the derivative space in the traditional world is such a huge $100+ trillion industry that provides a lot of utility and risk management tools. That's when we sort of realize that that's something that's necessary for the blockchain space to really sort of get to the next level. And that's at a core what we're addressing and really what we're committed to with market protocol.
Awesome. That's exciting. Now, I did note on my notes that you guys are based in Colorado, specifically Boulder. Why have you guys chosen to, build market protocol there as opposed to, one of the sexy tech hubs or fintech hubs in the States?
Right. So we are decentralized, like a lot of different projects. Two of our founders are in the Denver, Boulder area. I'm in Los Angeles. One of the reasons we picked that and really decided on Boulder is, we have a number of team members in Boulder. I think we have 3 or 4 right now in Boulder. There are a number of other good projects that are located in the Boulder area or greater Colorado area. We are close with Origin Protocol. They have a number of people that are working out of Boulder. Another project, Gitcoin, Consensus, has an office there. Radar Relay is in Fort Collins. So there are a lot of different projects and a lot of good, smart people in the blockchain space that are in Boulder. So we feel comfortable and look forward to making that our home for market protocol.
That's really unique. I think when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's cool. I mean, I've been to Boulder. I've had a chance to see a little bit of Denver. And it's not the first place that comes to mind, but it's really cool that you guys are, at the middle of that community that is developing all throughout the States and all throughout the world, and doing it in the not so popular places, but finding your niche and working with it.
Yeah, we're active in Boulder. I mean, Phil is also one of the co-founders of Boulder Blockchain. We met a lot of different great people at ETH Denver in the beginning of earlier this year, 2018. So we've overall we like the Denver area.
So when it comes to the team, what type of skill sets do you guys have on the table? I mean, I know a lot of you, like you mentioned, the three founders are all have a background in finance. But when it comes to the rest of the team, what type of skill sets do you guys have?
Yeah, I think it's important that we also are obviously well represented on the development side. So as I mentioned, Phil, our CTO, has been writing sort of mission critical, low latency trading infrastructure for a long time. Writing good quality smart contracts is very similar to writing mission critical trading code. I mean, he gets one shot to get it right. If you put bad code into production on the trading side, you lose a lot of money, just like you put bad code in production on the smart contract side. So, Phil has really solid background and good experience writing mission critical production level code and efficient, clean code. So I think that's come across really helpful on the team side. So, I think we have, I want to say we've surpassed the 50 contributors on our open source side. So we very much are also engaging the open source community in what we're doing. So our team is a diverse team. So we do have the finance side. I think that's really important. I think the domain knowledge, we have, but we also have the trading and development side. So Phil's working hard to develop and grow out our team. We recently added 2 more developers to the market protocol team. And also, I mentioned earlier in the call, Gitcoin. We also leverage Gitcoin a lot for our development. So Gitcoin is basically, it allows you to basically stake and create issues and pay people with Ether for completing and helping your project. So we're very active working on Gitcoin, and we use that as a great way to bring in additional resources, and eventually some of them do end up as full-time team members of Market Protocol.
That's awesome. Now, can you tell me a little bit about your guys' target market? Who is the end user when you guys are going out and designing your product and really building it out? Like who do you have in mind with this solution?
Right. So with Market Protocol, it's designed to allow any holder of ERC20 assets to use them as collateral to basically invest in other relationships. So there are a lot of different people that have a lot of different ideas on what that means to them. I think a few of the primary use cases are at the first use case I see a lot of people being interested in is this Market Protocol allows you to use something like Ether or a stable coin like MakerDAI to invest in and get price exposure to Apple stock, for example, all while remaining on the Ethereum blockchain. I think that's really interesting if you're, for instance, you live in Africa and you can't get exposure to U.S. equities, or you live in China and that's not something you can traditionally trade. So we see a lot of people are interested in that. We see a lot of people that are also interested in creating relationships that allow them to express a short opinion on a bad project, for example. If you don't like XYZ project, right now, there's no way to profit from a decline in price. So with Market Protocol, you can short that project. Further, with Market Protocol, what really I personally am most excited about with Market Protocol is it basically allows you to hedge any position you have in crypto assets. So a lot of projects have utility tokens that are designed to provide XYZ benefit to the user. Right now, any holder of those utility tokens really is just a speculator because that token's price is so volatile. So with Market Protocol, we can actually separate the price volatility from the use and utility of that token. So now I can actually just access a platform with my token versus having to be a price speculator. So those are some of the use cases we see early with Market Protocol.
What stage of development is the project in right now?
Yeah, so we released our proof of concept in November of 2017. That's where we made our first sort of Genesis trade. The white paper and the website and everything was publicly released in February of 2018. We released our first beta about 2 months ago on Rinkeby Test Network. Basically, the first beta allows you to create and define and deploy Market Protocol contract relationships, allows you to view the state of these contracts on the blockchain, allows you to view and browse other contracts on the blockchain. So that's out. I'm happy to provide you a link to that later. And that's been out for about 2 months now. In the next 6 weeks, we'll be developing and releasing the first simulated trading environment for Market Protocol. So that'll also be on Rinkeby Test Network, and that'll allow traders to basically trade against a bot or an automated market maker for Market Protocol. So that'll be the first time that they can actually begin trading amongst themselves and against the bot. We have basically a lot of the UI UX we're writing right now, in addition to basically that Exchange API and beta right now.
Can you tell me about some of the strategic partnerships you guys have to help you guys meet the goals you have set?
Yeah, sure. So Market Protocol is designed to be very straightforward from the implementation side. So as a protocol, we need third parties and others to write on top of Market Protocol, to provide functionality, exchange-like functionality or other applications. So one of our partners is DDEX, which is out of Beijing, which is the biggest 0x relayer right now. We have another partnership with a group in Singapore called Virtus Exchange that will be using Market Protocol as for their derivatives implementation. We have a partnership with an exchange that's coming online in Korea called Cordex that also will be running Market Protocol. We also have a number of partnerships with other different groups that are not necessarily exchanges. We have a partnership with MakerDAI. We have a partnership with Bluezell for data collection and basically storing market data. We have a partnership with Claros, which is a dispute resolution project. We have a partnership with Digix, which is another stablecoin option. We have a partnership with Haven. We have a few exciting partnerships that we are in the process of writing up and getting ready to announce, but they'll be on sort of the Oracle side. We're very much looking forward to that. I think that covers a number of our partnerships.
What a small world. I actually have an interview with Casey from Digix coming up here soon for this podcast. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Casey's a good guy. Yeah.
So can you tell me more about I know we talked about earlier before we got started with the show, but can you tell me about what's going on with OKX right now?
Yeah. So I think the issue with OKX highlights a lot of core problems with what's going on right now. Just to quickly summarize, basically a large Bitcoin futures position on the OKX exchange basically had to be force liquidated. And that position essentially ran out of collateral, and they're going to need to socialize almost 1,000 Bitcoin in losses. So overall, I think that's a very dangerous and bad situation that could entirely be prevented with market protocol implementation. So very high level market protocol contracts at execution have known and defined downsides. So we don't have any funding liquidations or forced collateral calls. So any trader in any market protocol contract at execution knows their maximum upside and maximum downside. The benefit of that is we can guarantee that all of our contracts are always solvent at all times. So there will be no sort of clawback or socialized losses. To me, someone coming from the traditional finance world where we don't have socialized losses just blows my mind that that's acceptable in the crypto space. Like OKX is not going to share their profits or upside with you, but they're going to make you participate in the downside. To me, that's just a ridiculous scenario. So there'll be something coming up on our blog later today. Hopefully you can put a link to it or mention it later. But we just find that the way that margin is implemented right now, the way that margin is dealt with, and the way that sort of these problems keep coming out, like this won't be the last time you see an issue with this, and that comes with the sort of irresponsible deployment of leverage on these centralized exchanges. So we address and solve these issues with market protocol, and we do it in a decentralized way. So I'd love to have anyone who's interested sort of reach out or read what we're writing. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to share that link, and I've been reading through your guys' Medium posts, and I think you guys do a great job of really, bringing big topics to a smaller explanation, really making it simple. I love the piece on, explain it to me like I'm 5. I like that a lot. And the content's very short and it's easy, and I can grab my phone and scroll a little bit, and here I am. I love it. I love it. You don't see it very often with a lot of projects. They usually go too in depth. And kind of piggybacking off of that, for those who maybe don't have experience as a trader, or maybe you're just like trying to learn more about the space, what type of advice do you have for them to better understand what market protocol is doing, but also, the potential that this platform could help them?
Yeah, I think it's important to tell people and bring up that derivatives and what we're doing isn't necessarily designed only for traders or only for institutional investors. What we're doing now is providing access to products that are very similar to what people are used to trading right now, and they're really no different. The benefits of them is that we allow someone to get exposure to all sorts of different assets and products in a safer way than they could do currently. So I think that educating themselves a little bit about why this what we're doing is very similar and why it's okay, I think is helpful. I think reading that ELI 5 article, I think reading some of the educational pieces we're putting out is helpful to make people understand that this is really an accessible product and implementation for anyone. So joining our Telegram, asking questions, joining any of our community or engineering calls, and asking questions. We're very happy and excited to help anyone who wants to understand better what we're working on.
Great. That's really helpful. I'm glad you were able to make it practical. Usually it's like, you just want to get into the space and start learning, but you listed those resources, and I'll also link those below for anyone listening. Because again, I think that's really important that you broke it down like here, go here, start here. It's a good spot to move from. So I have a question though, about just everything you guys are working with and everything you guys are doing. What type of questions about regulation are you guys having to answer? Or what type of things are you guys doing to, work with regulation, or maybe even work around regulation, or what kind of friction have you guys had there?
Sure. So, obviously regulation is something we're considering and thinking about. I think it's also important to realize that there are all sorts of jurisdictions. So we're talking with a number of groups in Korea, for example, that believe that what market protocol is doing actually is in line with sort of a solution around some of the regulatory issues they're facing right now in Korea. Engaging and talking with different regulatory bodies in different jurisdictions is obviously important, and we recommend that anyone who's going to be implementing market protocol is compliant with their jurisdiction. That being said, we also, as a protocol, want to make sure that we are sort of aware of possible issues or engaging regulators when appropriate. So, speaking with someone like the CFTC is definitely something that I think makes sense for us as well. So overall, I think that it's very difficult to get clarity on almost any crypto related question, let alone decentralized derivatives on the Ethereum blockchain. So I think we have some work to do in that regard.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I always, that's the thing about the space. That's always a question around it is like, okay, is this legal, or like how will, regulation adjust to this, or will regulation even adjust? But I think it's really cool that you guys are taking that, open mindset to like, okay, let's look at who we're working with and let's make this, let's work this out. So before we go, is there anything you want to leave our audience with, maybe where they can get a hold of you, or maybe the best place to get in contact about the project or just learn more about Market Protocol?
Yeah, I think a great place to start would be hopping on our website and joining our mailing list and our Telegram. Those are the most successful places to sort of get information and follow up. So I think those are great places to start. And
that's it for today's episode. I'm extremely thankful to have had Seth on the show. I think it was a great conversation that brought a lot of value to me, and I hope it did the same for you, the audience. I hope at least maybe this sparked your curiosity about what's going on in the space so that you can go out and learn more. Feel free to share any of your opinions or feedback about today's conversation with me. Also, remember to check out the show notes. You'll find all of the links to things we talked about there. And don't forget to leave us a review and rate us on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Helps us grow and continue to do these shows. Look forward to having you, the audience, back here on our next episode.